Welcome to Module 5, Enhancing Effective Partnerships for Health Equity. Here we will introduce a framework and 2 tools for launching and stabilizing effective equity-focused coalitions. After completing this module, you will be able to discuss the 8 steps to effective coalition building, define mechanisms for building equity-oriented collaboratives, and identify tools for enhancing interdisciplinary collaboration and addressing the tensions of turf. The previous module introduced the spectrum of prevention. If you recall, the spectrum is a tool to develop a comprehensive plan of action to reach an equity goal. Actions across the spectrum are mutually supportive and strategic. Fostering coalitions and networks was level 4 of the spectrum. Engaging multiple partners to harness existing resources in a community is central to a strategic and powerful approach for eliminating inequities. Coalitions are all about people. In Module 3, we described the people cluster and described the 3 community health factors within it. Coalitions are a tool for engaging people to make meaningful changes in their community. An equity-focused coalition must cast a wide net and draw in diverse partnerships to be effective. In the call to the nation to eliminate racial and ethnic disparities in health, they state that, given the broad roots of this problem, it is only with combined efforts of all sectors and disciplines of society, the public and private sectors, business and labor, nonprofit and community-based organizations, educational institutes, the faith community, and others, that we can hope to eliminate racial and ethnic disparities. You may also recall the image of a jigsaw puzzle for Module 4. The jigsaw is a helpful metaphor for understanding coalitions. Each puzzle piece represents one organization, sector, or group. To address the broad roots of inequities, coalition builders fit pieces together to form a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. This requires building trust, sharing resources, and at times coming to a consensus around a shared vision or goal. Prevention Institute developed the 8 steps to effective coalition building to help individuals and organizations launch effective coalitions. A coalition is a powerful tool for mobilizing people to action and bringing equity to the forefront of multiple agendas. Here, we provide a step-by-step review of the 8-step process. We encourage you to visit the Tools section of the Prevention Institute website to access the framework and learn more about it. Step 1 of the 8-step framework is to discuss and analyze the group's objectives and determine the coalition's needs. Answering the questions on this slide is an important starting point. Understand whether equity is a priority for all members, and discuss the pros and cons associated with collaborating. After determining answers to these questions, assess whether coalition building is the appropriate activity for accomplishing the group's objectives. Step 2. Recruit the right people. Listed on the slide are several important actions you can take at this step. To promote the health and safety of all community members, engage people interested in finding solutions and also engage those that are impacted by inequities. Recruit with a purpose and align the size and makeup of the group to the overall equity objectives. Having the right mix of partners is directly associated with the coalition's effectiveness and sustainability. The Garden of Eden Market is an example of an effective collaborative effort with a diverse membership. In St. Louis, Missouri, community members, local businesses, government agencies, faith-based organizations, and others work to create a thriving community-driven produce market. The market served those in the community who previously had low access to fresh, affordable fruits and vegetables. Here, membership was constructed to accomplish a shared goal of increasing healthy food access and stimulating local economic development. Let's look a little closer at the relationship between coalition objectives and membership to promote equity. In addition to inviting people impacted by inequities, providing opportunities for meaningful engagement to define issues, create strategies, and implement solutions is essential. Such engagement spurs dialogue that can heal differences and renew commitment to acting for the common good. Differences in ideology and approach can be transformed into diverse community assets. The coalition can then capture a diverse set of skills and expertise. Most importantly, community ownership and buy-in from all members increases the potential for long-term sustainability of the group's efforts. By creating a diverse coalition, we also increase the social, political, and community networks working towards solutions. The added support for an idea can sometimes be a necessary piece for success. In step 1, the group defined some preliminary objectives and determined whether a coalition was the appropriate tool for accomplishing them. Here at step 3, the group will define a set of more detailed objectives for the coalition. These objectives must be carefully constructed to meet the needs of the group and of the individuals or organizations that were recruited in step 2. This is an opportunity to build on the strengths and skills of each member and develop some short and long-term objectives for achieving shared equity goals. An example we shared with you in a previous module comes from Salinas, California. As part of the community's overall Preventing Violence initiative, public libraries were identified as key partners for improving literacy rates among youth. The public library served as a positive and safe place for youth to gather, and improved literacy rates had been associated with reduced violence in the community. By distributing library cards to all public school students, the city made it easier for youth to access the library's resources. Through this organizational change, the coalition achieved a short-term goal, and this effort contributed to the coalition's broader violence prevention goal of improving literacy rates in the community. Once you've arrived at step 4, it's time to convene the coalition. The coalition should come together for the first time at an easily accessible and comfortable venue where amenities necessary for full participation are provided. Conferences and workshops are useful for networking and skill building, but they cannot offer the specificity of purpose allowed in a meeting. Meetings allow for strategic invitation rather than the self-selection that might occur at a workshop or conference. This ensures that the people who you want to participate are invited to attend. Meetings also allow for a carefully crafted and focused agenda, making better use of the group's time and resources. Consider whether the meeting has to be held in the evening or on the weekends to ensure the participation of all members. It may be that all invited members will not ultimately become coalition members, yet meaningful engagement and clarity of purpose will enhance the group's ability to have the right people at the table. Step 5 of the coalition building process is developing budgets and mapping resources and needs. The time and participation of coalition members is usually the most valuable and highest demanded resource. Estimate how much of this resource you can realistically expect from each member. One organization will often take the lead fulfilling the general clerical and facilitation needs of the group. Other coalitions might contribute by conducting research or collecting data. At this juncture, consider what resources are needed to fully engage members of the community. It may be a shuttle bus to transport youth leaders to the meeting site, childcare for the parents of young children, or some form of compensation for the time and effort of community members. Data collection by community members can sometimes uncover valuable knowledge that is not found in databases or literature. And remember, while professionals are paid by their organizations to participate, community members are often expected to participate without compensation. Step 6 of effective coalition building is devising the coalition structure. Structure determines process. And to have an effective tool for improving equity, coalitions must promote equity within their own structure. For each of the questions in this slide and others that may emerge, determine what type of structure would facilitate productive and equity-focused efforts. Determine the length and frequency of meetings and modes of effective communication during and in between meetings. Consider how the agenda will be structured and how decisions will be made. Meaningful engagement and participation can ensure an equal stake of all members in coalition efforts and outcomes. An equity-focused coalition can amplify the often unheard voices of marginalized populations and those directly impacted by inequities. Step 7 of the framework is to plan for ensuring the coalition's vitality. Poor group dynamics may result from multiple factors, and listed on the slide are some common topics to visit and perhaps revisit through the life of the coalition. As you may have noticed, previous steps built upon one another. For example, achieving any short-term objective developed in Step 3 can also strengthen coalition vitality. If group members are not feeling productive or not feeling respected or acknowledged, then ignoring the issue will only make it worse. Celebrating successes, encouraging and motivating members, and addressing difficulties as they arise requires a well-thought-out plan. This is essential for maintaining group vitality. The final step of the framework is Step 8. Evaluate activities and improve as necessary. Proper evaluation builds coalition effectiveness by determining what works well and what doesn't. Throughout the life of the coalition, solicit constructive feedback from members on coalition objectives, activities, processes, and unanticipated events. Identify tools and instruments necessary for achieving this. At some point, you may determine that it is time to dissolve, disband, or change the structure of the coalition. Equity-focused coalitions, by their nature, will engage broad partnerships. For this purpose, Prevention Institute developed the Collaboration Multiplier to complement the 8 Steps to Effective Coalition Building framework. Collaboration Multiplier offers multidisciplinary coalitions an interactive tool for evaluating each partner's skills and identifying their individual and shared needs. The example on this slide shows 3 key players for a Preventing Violence initiative. The top row asks how each player defines the problem, what data they contribute, and the outcomes directly relevant to each player. The bottom row indicates what is gained through the multiplication of factors in each column. For the sake of simplicity, the example shows only 3 players, but imagine if we could add data sources from other partners such as schools, law enforcement, and local businesses. We would then have an even clearer picture of how violence is viewed by the entire community and what assets are present for preventing violence. Funders are increasingly supportive of collaborative approaches because, when executed effectively, they minimize duplication of efforts and encourage more comprehensive solutions to problems. For more information and to download the Collaboration Multiplier tool, visit the Prevention Institute website or copy the link on this slide. Any coalition is susceptible to turf. Tensions of Turf is another tool designed by Prevention Institute to facilitate the coalition building process. Tensions of Turf helps coalitions derive authentic, constructive power from varying perspective, skills, and mandates. It offers practical support for skillfully managing the dynamic tension that commonly arises when people collaborate. For more information, download this tool from the Prevention Institute website. Achieving health equity is beyond the purview of any single agency or sector. This is why a coordinated and collaborative approach is needed. While all coalitions are unique, there are some common activities that go into developing effective coalitions. The tools and frameworks provided in this module are useful for any coalition builder, whether they are starting from scratch or working to revitalize an existing coalition. Now that we've gone through the 8-step framework and explored 2 related tools, let us be reminded that shared efforts also leave the potential that future collaborative efforts will grow from the ones that preceded them. Cherie Brown in The Art of Coalition Building writes that an effort may fail, then partially succeed, then falter, and so on. Since mutual trust is built up over a period of time, coalition organizers should avoid getting so caught up in any one effort as to view it as make or break. Every effort at cooperation among groups prepares the way for greater and more sustained efforts in the future. To recap, this module emphasized that coalitions and networks can be an essential part of a broader effort to improve health equity. that effective coalitions rely on diverse and broad partnerships and meaningful engagement of all members. We demonstrated that tools and frameworks for coalition building, interdisciplinary collaboration, and turf struggles can improve coalitions' effectiveness and sustainability. And finally, we described that every shared effort leaves the potential for the next one to be more successful than the previous one. In the next module, we will present on the importance of local policy for building equity in health and safety. When you are ready, please proceed to Module 6.